Hi guys, welcome back to the Uncensored Critic podcast. Thank you as always for tuning in. It means the world. Thank you very, very, very much. And today it gives me great pleasure to welcome along Joel Harper-Jackson. Some of you will probably know his work already, and he's currently in the West End at the moment playing a certain role which you might be aware of. But before we get into that, let's take a moment to introduce him and his work. So Joel trained at the Hammond and has been a part of some of the most well-known shows to date, including one very recently, currently I should say, that features one singer you'll all may be aware of. His other theatre credits include the UK tour of Rent, the West End Women UK tour, Evita at the, how do you say this, mate? Is it Ljubljana Festival in Slovenia?
Ljubljana.
Ljubljana, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry for anyone from Slovenia watching or listening. Simon in Jesus Christ Superstar at the Regents Open Air Theatre, Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime UK Tour, Kinky Boots UK Tour, and Cock at the Ambassadors Theatre opposite a certain Jonathan Bailey, replacing Taron Egerton. And you can catch him right now in London at the Aldwych Theatre in Sinatra, where he plays the man himself, Frank Sinatra. Tickets available now, and links down below. Go and check it out. So, it's a show all about the highs and lows of Sinatra's life, his romance with Ava Gardener, which threatened to derail his career. But if you want to know a bit more, you've got to go and see the show. Anyway, Joel, how are you?
I'm all right, pal. Thanks for having me on. God, that was quite a write-up. I haven't gone through that in ages.
That's all you, mate. It's all your work. Yeah,
uh,
you've been very busy.
yeah, I've been lucky. I always wanted variety, and it was so lovely listening to it back. I was like, gosh, I've done quite a varied amount of stuff, and that's always what I wanted. So that's so funny. I haven't listened to it back in a long time.
Hey, it's all you. It's all you. So we'll start at the beginning. So in your case, man, where did it come from? The love of acting, singing, being in this business. Where did it come from?
Um, I guess it started that my drama teacher, she was the one that kind of like lit the flame, if you like.
Mm.
Uh, it was an engineering school that I went to, and I didn't really have a passion for anything. I was terrible at every subject. Then it came to choosing options, and then I thought, music and drama is the ones that I'm going to choose. But I'd not really showed any love for it. So I went into these classes with the teachers being like, "What the are you doing here?" And I said, I think I can sing. And then being from Stoke, my music teacher got the Robbie Williams songbook out,
Of course.
started playing Angels, and then I finished. And then she was like, "Right, I'm going to send you to opera lessons." And I went and started opera.
Wow.
Uh, and then my drama teacher, she was just fantastic. She introduced me to like all the working class stuff, like Road and Blood Brothers and Willie Russell stuff. The working class stories were the ones that really like
Mm.
captured my imagination. And then my dad was just like, "Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're never going to make a living." And of course, I wanted to rebel against him at any chance I could get. So I was
Good
like,
for
"Screw
you.
you, I'm going to do it." And and it wasn't just that. Like I felt the most complete doing it, and it helped me understand people and understand myself, certainly,
Mm.
by jumping into other people's skins. So I just learned more by escaping myself and learning to empathize with other people and other characters.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice one.
that's where it all came
Yeah,
from.
nice one. So, and of course, you went to the Hammond as well, which is a drama school, of course, here in the UK. How was your time at the Hammond?
I'll be honest. When I first went, the way it kind of happened was quite last minute. I didn't know that these sort of places existed. I was probably a little bit sheltered, so I was thinking of, oh, maybe I could do like a university course. I didn't know
Mhm.
there was like proper courses which just focused on the practical side of things. So I was doing an amateur dramatic show, and someone spotted me and essentially offered me a scholarship to the Hammonds, and I was like, "Yeah, all right, I'll
Wow,
give it a go." But
impressive.
my singing teacher was like, "Oh no, you must go to London." But of course, everywhere was um, already it had given all the places and all the scholarships. I got into Mount View, but the scholarships had gone. So I went to Hammond, with it being predominantly dance. I'd probably say about 90% of the course was dance, and I could not do a kickball change. I was terrible. And my passion, of course, was singing and acting. So at first, I kind of resented the place because I was like, "Oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be," and I'm not a dancer. I don't want to dance. And but then, because of my singing and acting, I got a little bit more attention, I guess, and it made me work harder. It made me realise, okay, well, when I do graduate, my training has to just continue with me alone, and that came in the form of going to class all the time. When I got my first West End job, beautiful. I was a swing on it, so fortunately I wasn't tired all the time. So I didn't go on for the first 2 months of the run. So I had all this energy, and I felt like I wasn't able to, do what I expressed myself. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to class every day. And I did for a year, 2 years, 3 years. It carried on. And that's when I just got better. I was working with people from all over the world. It was making you remember the Actors Centre? How brilliant it used to be. And there was just so many. It's such a shame that it's gone now.
Yeah.
So I did the Actors Centre, the Actors Temple, and then I did all the workshops with mixing networks. And that's really where I got better. But the Hammond itself taught me that it made me very resilient. Lots of the teachers were very northern, old school, like crack on, get on with it. They didn't sugarcoat anything, and they said, you're coming from a school which isn't known. You're already on the back foot. So if you want to impress people, you need to really be outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
It just taught me discipline, that place. And of course, dance is very disciplined, and I think acting can sometimes be a little bit more go with the flow. But I found that putting discipline into my acting, I became so much better. So that was the greatest thing that it taught me, was its discipline, and it hardened me, which is, of course, as you know, very, very necessary in this industry.
As you know, yeah.
But it also then taught me that the training continues.
Yeah.
It didn't make me feel complacent. I had to keep on going and finding ways to improve, and I still hold that with me. I still want to get better, and I'll hopefully always be a student up until my last day.
Yeah, so you never stop learning, even after drama school. You're always remembering old lessons, or then you discover something else and you go, I never thought about that before. And then you sort of find a different way. And it's true that, so many people say you learn on the job. And so like, what's been like some of the best things that you've learned over the course of take drama school out of the equation just for 1 second, and all the work you've done up to now, even in Sinatra now, what's some like the biggest things or most important things you've learned actually on the job?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I think be bold. Make bold decisions wherever you can. Be kind to people. Be good. Show up on time. Do it kind of the basics. When it comes to the day-to-day ins and outs of like, obviously, just be kind. So turn up on time. Be kind. Be lovely, be supportive. That kind of comes in the kind of basic level. But then, like, artistically, I'd say think outside the box. Be relentless. Never take no for an answer. And just keep pushing your boundaries. Keep on choosing work which maybe you think you can't do. We're so quick to put limits on ourselves of what's possible. So I think it's really important to choose the jobs that scare you. Frank is certainly one that scared me when it came through. I kind of went, me, because the casting director came to my agent and kind of checked my availability for it. And I scratched my head and said, "Is he sure?" Well, so prime example, I had an assumption and I limited myself there and then. And then it was only until I read the script and saw that we were focusing on the early part of Frank's life. And I was always hired as the guy that can sing high. Oh, he got a high voice. So, of course, now I'm playing the world's most famous baritone. It's quite the contrast. So that was another thing which was quite insightful to realize that I could change my biology down here. My voice has completely changed. It took me about 5 months to kind of like rejig, and I as I said, I did opera, but the kind of thing that really helped me progress as a singer was imitation, by just copying people. So yeah, don't limit yourself. We are all capable of so much, and we're so quick to put the glass ceiling above us, but we must break free of it. So yeah, be bold, don't limit yourselves, turn up on time, and be good, kind to people, and have fun, and probably don't take it seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. I'm probably a little bit guilty of that back in the day.
Oh, I'm sure we all have, and creatives just in general, mate. So you're not alone on that. But it's just you just chill and just know that it's so many people say you're not working down a coal mine here. It's all right. It's just have fun more than anything. We'll get on to Sinatra in just a second, but I've got to ask you about, just very quickly, you stepped into, about, you talk about bold choices and sort of being thrown in the deep end. You were thrown into the run of Cock at the Ambassadors Theatre, of course, written by Mike Bartlett, and when Taron Egerton sadly had to step away from the role. And were you his understudy from the get-go? Or were you?
I was his and Jonathan Bailey's understudy.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'd learned both of them. Ironically, the creative team had told me to prioritize Jonathan's character because he was on stage more. But yeah, God Almighty, that was quite an experience. We'd come off the back of COVID, and like all of us, I had a little bit of a wobble and just questioned, like, God Almighty, am I ever going to work again? Can I do this? So, I played leads before, but coming from musical theatre, there's that age-old thing of like musical theatre actors can't act. So wherever I could get a play on my CV to help me break away from that, I would do it. So it was a play. I'm studying these two fantastic actors. I break myself back into theatre gently, and I'd just have a lovely couple of months in London. And of course, I got a little bit more than I bargained for. He was so fun. He's one of I really love him as an actor. So just to watch him work was just absolutely fantastic. So how did it start? The first night, he unfortunately collapsed on stage, and then he was fine. Doctor was in the audience, I just think. I'm not too sure. So the creative team came backstage and said, "We'd like you to go on and finish the rest of the show." And I was like, "Okay." And everyone was running around like headless chickens. And I was just, in those situations, I kind of go like, "What were we just saying? Like, it's not life and death. Like, we're going to be fine." So I just went very calm. I was like, "Okay." And they said, "We'd like you to go on with the book." And I was like, "No, I think that'll get in my way. I'm dyslexic." So the idea of holding something and looking down, fumbling over my words, and then no. They were like, no, please go on. I was like, so I said, okay. And then as soon as the curtain came up, I just went and put the script down on the side, and I was like, I am better without that, and I can just rely on my instincts, and I'll remember it. And I did. It all came out, and thank God. And yeah, the audience went wild. It was quite the night. And then he did 2 weeks of shows, and then he got COVID, and then I was on playing his part. And of course, everyone had paid to see him, big shoes to fill. But, once there's an opportunity to present itself to you like that, so I grabbed the bull by the horns and thought he went for it.
Nice.
And then it was April Fool's Day. 1st of April, and the producer called me and said, "We've had some good and bad news. Bad news is Taron's not going to be returning. He has to leave due to personal reasons. But the good news is we've been watching you and we think you're fantastic, and we'd like to give you the role." Cried my eyes out, couldn't quite believe it, and yeah, things really started to change. I got an American manager. I was getting offered jobs without auditioning, which that's never happened to me. And it eventually led me to my first little TV job. So it really changed things. But it was a stressful period. I think that's when I first started going grey. But yeah, I had the time of my life. I realised that I'm stronger than I thought, and I came out of the job being like, I can do anything. I can do anything. Like, that was crazy. And of course, there were things going on behind the scenes, and it was a baptism of fire. But I came out of it feeling like, yeah, I could take on the world. Prior to this, because I said I didn't have acting training, I was going to go and do a 1-year course at Wales Royal Academy.
Royal Welsh College.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was trying to do a postgrad there as I was auditioning for Cock. And so when I took over, I told Marianne this, and she was like, "Oh, fuck that. This will be your training. Like, we're just going to give you everything."
Yeah.
So she just gave me everything. And it was like how many, like a kid that trained at the Hammond, like I'm on stage, Marianne's been like, "Fantastic, right, now do this. Right, good. And how about this? Yeah, very good. How about this?" Like, on the daily, it was just marvelous. And every single night, like, sometimes I felt like I was treading water, but like I was having the best time treading water. It really was fantastic. Something to tell the grandkids.
Definitely, yeah, and of course, what a person to learn from, Jonathan Bailey, and I mean, the fact you understudied both parts as well. I mean, your brain must have been just full of words, because you hear all these understudies studying both parts. I mean, how did you get all those words in your head, man? I know it's that people say, "Oh, how do you learn your lines?" And we say, "Oh, that's a ridiculous question," but sometimes it's like, yeah, how do we keep, in your case, 2 parts in your head for that whole time? It's just to be called on at a moment's notice.
Sometimes I'm a bit dubious about telling people this, but there was a recording of Andrew Scott and Ben Wishaw's
Version, yeah.
And it was just recorded the audio, not through BBC or something. So because I got the job late and rehearsals were starting soon, I was like, how am I going to do this? And of course, coming from a musical background, the way that I learned things was by just listening, going about my day-to-day, finding rhythms and bits and bobs. And of course, you can get into a habit of that. So I was very conscious of that. But I would literally clean my entire house whilst listening to the play for about 2 or 3 weeks. And it just made everything go in. And then once the words were there, I could let go of everything else. But yeah, that recording really saved my bacon, because obviously Johnny never leaves stage. Taron is on probably for 2/3 of the play, and there's no interval. So I'm supposed to learn both of these characters. How am I going to do this? And then, yeah, I turned up at day 1 being like, yeah, let's go. So thank God for that.
Yeah. No, but it's true. It's like the way we speak. I talk a lot about Shakespeare on here, and it's just like the beats in the line, and it's a rhythm. When you're listening to a song again and again and again, you learn it through the rhythms and everything. Of course, you know that more than anybody. But
Mike Bartlett is so specific and particular, like about his punctuation and every, like the gaps. Like we were drilled. It was so precise. Marianne was like, "Look, darling, I think that's a little bit, that's too much of a pause." So he's only written 2 gaps, and you're doing 3. But yeah, it was, so that as well. It made me approach text with a lot more I was a lot more strict with myself after that job, because it was as the writer intended and by the book.
Mm.
Then it's up to the actor to be free from the parameters that the writer set.
Yeah. The parameters. Yeah. It's like, was there a pause there, Joel? I think there should be a pause there. No. Is it in the script, darling? No. No, no. Okay, don't do it then. Yeah, so I'm right thinking that was Marianne Elliott who directed that.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Ah, I love Marianne. I love her work so much. Yeah. Did you see it? Did you see Angels in America?
as it. Yeah,
Yeah. Did you do the two show day?
I did. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
quite spectacular.
Yeah.
I'd worked with her on Curious Incident,
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
but she only came in for a couple of days to kind of, it was set up by the associate, and then Marianne came in for a couple of days. So unfortunately didn't get as much time as I wanted. So to have this, I was like a kid in a candy shop. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah. I'm going to have Marianne on here, I hope, one day. I've got so many questions for her. Anyway, so let's jump into something you're doing right now. Of course, it's a little known singer you guys might be aware of. It's a guy called Frank Sinatra. So you're performing in the show entitled Sinatra. And as I said in the intro, obviously we won't do spoilers today because we want people to go and see it. But the time period which you've chosen is something quite early in his career. You're talking about the highs and lows, and of course his romance with Ava Gardener, who has been reported to nearly threatened to derail his career at that point in his life before. And of course, I always thought that he had like consistent success all the way through. But then reading his story, there's a dip in there as well. And then before, like, I remember I saw your interview on the One Show actually, which you did with his daughter Tina, Frank's actual daughter Tina, and you talked about how like at that bottom bit he was doing performances for hotel guests at 2 o'clock in the morning in the basement. And this
Yeah.
is someone who was headlining the biggest shows, the biggest arenas, selling all these albums, and yet somehow had this huge dip before he built his way back up. And of course, that's what makes his song "My Way" so special, and for a number of reasons. But anyway, so tell me about how did you get involved in this thing, and where do we find Sinatra? What story are we telling at this specific moment in his life?
Okay, I'll focus on the show first, and then I'll come back to how I got involved. So yeah, as you say, it's his demise. He started off really well, and contracts with MGM and fantastic record label Columbia. He did a couple of movies with Gene Kelly. He was seen as the new kid on the block and doing very well. But then he was very left wing. Was championing for racial equality, and the right at the time in America, the right wing press were like a very, very, very right wing and would pull anyone through.
Yeah.
So that was happening at the time. Frank was having an affair with Ava Gardener, a very public affair, which just didn't do very well because his publicist kind of sold him as the boy next door, family guy, pictures with his kids and his family, and then of course he's having this very high profile affair with Ava Gardener. And then on top of that, there was all of his links with the mafia, and like the press, the right wing press, like jumped onto that and made it such a huge thing. Which
Talk about a scandal, huh?
but he did grow up with these boys, like the boys that were in that circle. Like he was from Hoboken, like so everyone was like he's got ties, but like where it first started off as like they went to school together, and the right wing press made it like this colossal thing that like he's very, very bad news, and it just became a bit of a pile-on. And because of all those factors, he lost his record contract, his movie contract. No one wanted to touch him. He was traveling around. I can remember a story of like doing Paris, 2,000-seat theatre, and about 20 people were there.
Wow.
No one wanted to touch him. And then it was. They were turning From Here to Eternity into a movie. Harry Cohn was directing, and he read it and saw himself in the character of Maggio. He was like, that is me. I know that guy. That I can do. And he was like a dog with a bone and just wouldn't let go and badgered this director constantly. And then he said no, and he offered it to Eli Wallach, a big actor, and he ended up turning it down for a Broadway play. So it became available again. And then with a little help from Ava Gardener, Ava called Harry's wife, twisted his arm, and eventually he was like, fine, let's do a screen test. And he got the job. And the next thing, he won an Oscar for it. After this whole, like, no, I'm not touching you. Such success came from it. And then the next thing, Capitol Records came to him and offered him a record contract. And then he became the untouchable Frank that we all know, the chairman of the board, and started working with Nelson Riddle. But it was good. It was a good 7-8 years where he was really just not wanted and was seen as this washed up crooner.
Wow.
So that's what we're focusing on, because it's a story that not many people know, and I think it's quite interesting. I think it was the Hollywood Reporter describes it as the greatest comeback of all time. So I think it's quite an interesting period in which we're telling. And how it came to me, as I say, the casting director checked my availability. I kind of wondered whether I could do it. And I read the script and went, oh, maybe I could. And of course, with many actors, I, in that time, was going through a bit of a dry spell myself. Like, I hadn't booked like a big theatre job in about, is it 2 years or something? I'd done a little bit of TV and stuff, but I did a very small play, and then I was hired for the workshops of brand new musicals, about 4 of them, and either playing the supporting lead or the lead, and for one reason or another, they didn't want to take me to the main production. And I was like, God almighty, what am I doing? Like, why can't I, like, why? I'm sick of feeling like I'm just not good enough. And it was, you're too old, or your voice isn't gritty enough, or your voice isn't that. Some of them just didn't say anything, which was quite brutal. But I just felt like there was something wrong with me, and I was just sick of it. So I went into this audition kind of feeling like, not this one. I'm going to get this. I am literally not having anyone else touch this part. This is mine. So it was. I kind of felt like that's the audition scene was the scene where Frank is like begging the director Harry Cohn to give him a shot, and like saying there is no other guy that can do this part. So I kind of felt like this was quite appropriate. But I went in with I think I had to do 6 scenes, 2 songs. Oh yeah, so I started with I've Got You Under My Skin, and then I did 6 scenes, and it takes you all the way up to Act 1, which is quite a low point of Frank's life, and then he sings That's Life. And I just left nothing in the tank, and I finished That's Life. The entire room clapped and stood up, which was mental, because Tina, his daughter, was there, which was obviously very nerve-wracking, and Universal Music, who own the rights and are producing it. And then of course you've got Tony winner writer Jodie Pietro and triple Tony Award winner Kathleen Marshall, director there. It's like it was a daunting room, but I was like, I'm not having this. This is mine. And then they clapped. People, they were crying, and then Tina got up and held my face and looked at my eyes, and she was like, you have his eyes, you are my father. And then I kind of went, oh, if I don't get this job. And then a day or 2 later, the offer came through. Amazing. And it was just fab. Really, 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 really wonderful. Quite surreal, as you can imagine.
I bet, yeah. And is it true that in the audition, I think you remember saying that, I think you said to yourself, walk towards your fear, Joel, and you actually walked actually up to the panel and actually sang. I think you ever said in that interview on the One Show again, you were pretty much singing when you were toe to toe with them or something. Is that right?
Yeah, so I did the self tape initially, and then a month later they said, okay, you're going to be in the room on the Monday and Tuesday. So the Monday was the director, writer, and the music team, and then they said, if you're successful, we'll bring you in tomorrow on the Tuesday, and Tina's going to be there, and Universal Music and the big dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, we started with "I've Got You Under My Skin," and it was very much, okay, hello, lovely to meet you. All right, how are you feeling? Great. Okay, and off you go.
Mm.
I was like, okay, I'm about to sing her dad's stuff. Okay. And I just started gravitating. I don't know why I did it. I just started gravitating towards their table, Tina's and Universal's, and just sung it as if I was at a cabaret bar or something. Looked at her and clicking. I was like, what am I doing? And I finished the song and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know why I did that, but something just walked towards you for you. And I think it's right. Like, I think it's that thing again of like, get out of your way and just keep on walking towards the thing that scares you, because Frank had balls. He really did have balls. He was, and I think that's probably what they saw in me. They saw that like kind of like screw you attitude. Let's do this.
Yeah. Like that. Well, you say that and then you hear it in his songs. It's like every time what's the lyrics? Every time I get knocked down or fall flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. I mean, just the way he rhymes everything is just stunning. But and of course, when you sing these songs every night, you've got, you make me feel so young. Come fly with me. That's life. I'm guessing you sing My Way as well. You can't have a Frank Sinatra musical without that in it. I'm sure you do that anyway. But when you sing these songs every night and you've got his daughter possibly in the wings or in the rehearsal room and everything, like how much of like you is in Frank Sinatra? Like, because obviously you want to find your own interpretation of it, and your own sound to it. But so how much of it is you, and how much do you sort of steal from Sinatra, if that makes sense?
So this is it's a funny one, because when I was auditioning and when we were going through the process, they were very clear with me, the creative team, that they were like, we don't want a tribute, we don't want an impersonation, because there's only one Frank Sinatra.
Mm.
We all know that. I see all the comments on social media being like, no one can do Frank. We know.
We know that.
So I digested that, but at the same time, I kind of did go, all right. However, if I was an audience member and I came to see a Frank Sinatra show and didn't hear a certain amount of Frank, I would feel shortchanged.
Mm.
So as much as, yes, you've hired me for my spirit and my essence, and there's something that kind of, there's a link between the two of us. People even say like we even look like each other on profile, like a little bit. But yeah, it's the sound which is important. So I said, I'm going to lean into him whilst retaining me. And it's a line that I'm still treading. It's just, I mean, the comments have been lovely. Like the reviews have been very nice about my sound and my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that it's not a tribute. It's like it's his essence and a flavor of him. And that's kind of exactly what I wanted, because if I was a tribute act, there's many fantastic, wonderful tribute acts of Frank Sinatra around the world doing wonderful things. So how do we make this feel authentic? How do we make it feel like we're it has to feel true and honest, and that can only happen if it's coming from within me. I can do the isms and I can, lean into his sound, do little tricks and blah blah blah, and like focusing on his dialect. But ultimately, I can't do a caricature. Everything, in order for this to feel authentic, it has to come from within me, within my vessel, with the filter of Frank. Otherwise, it's just going to feel false, and Frank will absolutely hate it. And you know what? You're never going to please everyone in doing this. Like, people love Frank and hold him very close to their hearts, and rightly so. So it's not going to be for everyone, and I'm very well aware of that, and I'm comfortable with that. But the majority has been positive, and the negative ones, like, that's okay. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I knew that I was never going to please everyone. To be honest, I'm surprised that I'm pleasing as many people as I am, because I thought this is going to be difficult shoes to fill.
Because that's better. That's better. Yeah. Making people happy. But of course, there's you mentioned earlier about just how is your vocal range gonna? How do you sing like Sinatra? Because I know I remember Michael Bublé did a interview and he talked about how, like, his sort of he talked about Tony Bennett's sort of philosophy towards singers. He goes, steal from everyone, steal from them all. This is quite apt to what we were talking about just earlier, because if you steal from one person, you're a thief. But if you steal from everyone, you can call it research. So, and that's fantastic. So I remember he talked about Sinatra, actually. He was to sing hard on his vowels. So obviously I'm not going to sing now, but it's like, I've got you, you do, 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 that sort of thing, And so how has that been? Because when you listen to it, like you did with the cock play and everything, it's like when you hear like him, you hear him sing hard on his vowels, or you hear him elongate that note there and everything. Of course, with your music background, everything, you listen to everything. So how has the process vocally been in adapting to Sinatra? And has it been like a big jump for you? Or has it always been something that's felt a little more natural?
Not at all. As I say, I was I did Freddie in Chess, which is an unbelievably high sing. Charlie in Kinky Boots. My stuff that I gig with is Queen and Aerosmith. So
yeah, you're one of the lucky ones that can hit the high notes.
I tell you though, not after this job, my voice is going to take a year or two to get back up there. But yeah, so my first focus was focusing on its thickness, its depth, and its richness. So that was the first and foremost. I knew that I could do his vowels like his Frank's. So because he was very, very New York, he had this singing teacher that was so old school and like almost from a bel canto background. It was very almost like a version of kind of opera, but not. So I knew that I could do the vowels, but I just needed to focus on, for my voice, because it was high and pingy, I needed to focus on the richness. And that just came from doing vocal cool downs, not vocal warm ups. I did vocal cool downs multiple times a day.
Yeah.
I stopped touching my high stuff, and I haven't touched it for a while. That's why I'm a bit concerned. I think it's going to take a year or two. But yeah, that's where I focused on first and foremost. My physiotherapist, who does my vocal massages, I hadn't seen her in about 7 months, and she came to touch my voice box, and she was like, "Oh my God, there is such a drastic difference. It's so much lower, because obviously it's all the way up here before." It's just fantastic what the body can do and change to its new environment. But it's an ongoing process, and there's still new things that I'm trying to put in of him. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, how much do I do? Because of course they wanted me to keep my voice. So as I say, it's a line that I'll continue to tread and continue to experiment with. The wonderful thing about Frank is there is always new material to digest, because he's done so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I feel like I'm just at the beginning of this Frank journey. To be fair, I feel like there's a long way to go, and there's still lots more that I'll learn. But people are happy so far, so hopefully I'll continue to just expand and dig deeper and just give more frank, but authentically through me, if
Yeah,
that makes
absolutely. Yeah. And of course, I've got, and you've quite the journey because I know that the booking period is up until April next year as well. So can people, will you be there up until April?
I will indeed. I'll obviously have my holiday dates.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'll be there until April, and then who knows what's next after that.
Yeah, it's the journey that we have, isn't it? What's next, But I imagine by obviously I'll probably catch up with you in April, but I'd be really interested to hear like at the end of your journey, if you continue it beyond April, who knows? But by the end of your time, say it's April, like what, how much of Frank have you discovered and everything, and like how many more discoveries have you made, and etc. So that would be interesting to sort of hear that. And that's a good lead on to, because he's so iconic, because he has a very specific sound, and one that people will have listened to for a very long time and will continue to. Having been with this part for as long as you have, who is the person to you? Who is Frank Sinatra to you, Joel?
Um, the thing I really like about him is because it is the thing I really like about him is he's very flawed,
Very
very
flawed.
flawed,
Flawed.
very flawed.
Mm.
He's and speaking from my point of view, all humans are. We all have um, our bad sides, and it was very well known that he had them. He was multifaceted. He was the most wonderful, silly, goofy parent, but then he was a terrifying titan in other respects. So that's why he's quite a gift to play, because like there's so many contradictions in him,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
people have very 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 many different versions of Frank. Like you'll often hear people go, "Oh well, he's a mobster, and like he's mafia, and he's this," and I'm like,
Hang on a minute.
you've clearly been reading far too much, and you just have a version of that man that is that and that alone, and he's not. Um, all of those things, like his character, it stretches far and wide, but then on top of that, it's his artistry. Um, he is a brilliant storyteller. There's no disputing it, and he did it's not to be cliche, but he really did do things his way, and
Hmm.
I think that is very admirable. I found lots of similarities in the two of us in the window. I am going to do this how I want to do, and I'm not going to be pushed around or told how I should do things, because I'm not in this industry. Of course, we are to please others to an extent, but I'm doing this to please myself. Um, so he's very hard to articulate and encapsulate in just one word, but like I think he's complex. He's wonderful. He's difficult. Um, he's brilliant. He's scary, naughty. He's all of the things, and I think he's a gift to play, and I think there is always going to be something that I can learn from him.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, you see these titans, and yet you realize that they're human at the end of the day. They have flaws. They have bad experiences. They have traits about themselves which they don't conduct themselves in the best way, but they also have their good sides as well. And that's what makes his songs just like, particularly "That's Life" and "My Way." And I'd say this, I don't mind sharing this, but "My Way" was played at my granddad's funeral actually, and it was just perfect because he was, I think like all of us, it speaks to everybody. Like If yes, there were times I'm sure you knew when I bit off more than I could chew. And what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not. And it's just it speaks to every one of us. Whatever gender you are. And so when you sing those songs every night, and obviously I mean this question from a place of privilege, not of pressure, by the way. But when you sing those songs every night, knowing that that was someone's grandmother's favorite song or someone's granddad's favorite song or their parents or whoever it is, I mean, that must be such a privilege to sort of, and live as well, for everybody there in the moment, not on a cassette player, not on any headphones, a live performance of Sinatra. I mean, what's that like every night?
It's gorgeous. There's the intro. We do My Way a little bit abstract, and the intro doesn't really give anything away, so you don't actually know that it's coming.
Ah.
And I come on stage and I stand in the spotlight, and I just stand there for a moment, and then I start that opening line, kind of from nowhere, and every single night there's a gasp, and they then have this flutter of oh God, oh, and sometimes they clap. I like you say, yeah, it's such a privilege to be in this position that I'm bringing this man's music to people again, when it means so much to all of them. However, just to caveat that, I try not to think about it too much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's like not put any pressure on you. Yeah.
If I do that, I get in my head, and there's been times where like that has happened, and I've got, isn't this? Shut up.
Yep.
Be quiet. Don't listen to.
Shush. Be quiet, brain.
Your internal monologue.
Yeah.
So it's gorgeous and wonderful, but I do have to flick a switch in my mind and just focus on what I'm supposed to be doing, because otherwise I'll enjoy it a little bit too much, and that's not appropriate.
Yeah, but that must be, it's amazing. And just from a technical perspective, that last note where he says, "I took the blows and did it my way." Well, what's that note at the end? Was that? Do you know what?
I'm not going to belt it right now.
No, no. Save your voice. Save your voice for tonight. But do you know what it is? What one note is that at the end?
I don't know, but I don't. Although I trained in opera, I can't actually read music.
No, I tell you what, it's like another language, isn't it? For me, it's just like squiggles on a page. I don't know how these conductors do it, but
it doesn't. It's great that we have people that can do all that, but like for me, it's not about it's about a feeling as opposed to something that is so. That's not how I work. I've never found reading music to be of use.
Yeah,
it comes from a feeling and a sensation. If I knew what the notes were, I'd start to get in my head. I just want to.
Oh yeah, no, you don't want that. No, just enjoy it, and let's see what time we got. Okay, but we're a bit pushed for time, so got a few more questions left for your jogs. I know you got to rest up and get your voice ready for tonight. But I suppose really, obviously, you're going to continue this up until April next year, because that's when the current booking period is extended to. But I know this might sound a bit abstract, but given that what you've been with Sinatra for this length of time now, and of course you'll continue it into next year, what do you think the essence of him and working with Tina and the crew and Joe Pietro and all that, this whole experience, what do you think it will leave behind? Do you think? I know this might be a futuristic question, but what do you think it will leave behind, do you think?
Leave behind it for me, or just for the theatre?
For yourself, yeah, like your experiences, how your voice, your spirit, whatever it is. Just, do you think it will leave anything behind?
Yeah, I think he'll stay with me forever. Like I really do. I don't know. There's been lots of conversations between myself and the cast about the future of the show, and like you say, what will it leave behind for us? Like, will there be this, or will there be that, or what will happen? What will it mean for us in our future? And to be honest, we've had so many of these questions between ourselves, and I just kind of went, you know what? I think I need to stop wondering what will come from this, and just focus on enjoying it now, and being a little bit more present. I know that he will stay with me forever. I hope that I work with the team again in some way, shape, or form. Um, I think this will be another change and step up in my career. It's the biggest thing I've done, and I hope more fantastic opportunities and things come from it. But
Absolutely.
I think it's important for me because I'm so guilty of going, oh, what's coming in the future, and I need to stop doing that because
Yeah.
I do just need to practice being a little bit more present and enjoying the moment that's at hand, and lapping that up as opposed to, oh, the future, the future, the future. You know?
Will be. Yeah.
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 I need to get better at that, so I'm trying to practice it.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. And pardon the pun, but that's life.
It is indeed.
Oh, that's another cracker. God, to sing those songs every night, you must not get bored of them. Obviously, I don't, some
That
people go,
that song in particular, that's the end of Act One, and it is theatrically so spectacular.
yeah, I bet.
We have a 17-piece orchestra on stage as well.
Oh, mate.
It comes in and out of, like, sometimes it's behind uh, a bit of scenery, and sometimes when Frank's in performance mode, like they're revealed, and I come forward on the stage, and it's that's life in particular is probably one of my favorites. Favorite moments in the show. It's quite yeah. I don't want to ruin it, but it's quite special.
Yeah, of course. Of course, I want people to go and see it, so which is good. Oh, mate, that sounds like one hell of a job. And I've just got two more quick questions left for you before I get to them, and just say, look, just you must have so much fun every single night, and I'd say just enjoy it, man. I know you've got a considerable stretch left, but just enjoy, making people smile, making people feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Nostalgic. And
Yeah.
just remembering, like I said earlier, there's probably their nan's favorite song or their mum's favorite song or their brother or whoever it is. Just, yeah, man. And just having an orchestra behind you, then you get, oh, I want to see it now. I want to come see it. But
Sure.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'd love to, man. Yeah, mate, I'll see you there, man. I'll see you there. But yeah, I know we're pushed for time because I know you've got to get your voice ready for tonight and everything. So these are the last two questions for every guest. So first of all, what would you say was a bit of advice you wish you heard when you were starting out?
Um, that's a tricky one. Um, it's quite a practical one. It'd probably just be like save money.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Save money, but at the same time, like, but don't like I came from a period like where my family went bankrupt and we lost a lot of money during my training, and I kind of had nothing.
Mm.
So when I did start to earn money, I was like, oh, I should save. But then at the same time, I'm like, I want to enjoy and live my life and travel and see the world and lap things up. So
Yeah.
I I don't really have any bits of advice or critiques that I wish I'd heard. There's nothing. I wouldn't change a single thing or wish I'd done anything differently. So
Absolutely.
I guess it's do your thing.
Mm.
Listen to yourself, and just trust your instincts. Don't we are here for our purpose, and like so don't like follow what fuels you. Like don't yeah.
Mm.
So although I didn't receive that, I have that advice. I'm imparting that. Do this for you and you alone,
Yeah.
not for anyone else.
Yeah. Do your thing and listen to yourself. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one, man. And finally, today, you probably answered this already, actually, but what would you say has been an experience or experiences you've had in your career up to now that you'll never ever forget?
So it was when I was doing Standing at the Sky's Edge I was playing Harry in when it transferred to the Gillian Lynn in 2020, 23, 24. Oh my
23?
God,
No,
can't remember.
I think it's 24. I think. I'm not sure.
Maybe 24.
One or two.
So I was working on that in the evenings and of course a couple of matinees, but at the same time I was filming a TV series called The Devil's Hour on Amazon Prime with Peter Capaldi.
Mm.
It was my first TV job, and for my first TV gig, I expected something like, the doctor will see you now. But it was just the most incredible experience and showcase. It gave me so much more than I ever dreamed. Every single scene partner was, this is BAFTA winner so and so, and this is so and so, and I just felt like every single day was an education. I couldn't quite believe it. And I was picked up in a lovely fancy car, taken to set at Shepperton, and then driven to the theatre to do the show that night in the West End. And I can remember just crying on the way. I'm so sorry.
No,
On
not
the
at
way
all.
from
Not at all.
Shepperton to the theatre, I was like, I can't believe that this is my life. Like, I can't believe that I'm playing the lead in an Amazon Prime TV series. That a chauffeur. Like, I come from a very working class background, like from Stoke-on-Trent. A chauffeur is driving me in a Mercedes now to go to perform on the West End stage in this hit show that everyone loves. And I was just like, this is my dream. And I can just remember that moment of realization, like, oh my God, I'm here. This is what I wanted. And I texted my best friend and just told him everything. And every single year he reminds me of when I sent him that text. And then he says, and look at where you are now. Because every year is like, it does seem to get, of course there's dips here and there, but like it does in general seem to get slowly and surely better. So yeah, that was probably one of my most wonderful quiet moments of quiet realization just for myself. It wasn't like a loud like moment on stage. It was like oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. You should get that printed on a t-shirt. You see it every day. But yeah. Well, that's good. You need friends like that to sort of remind you of like where it's been and where you are now and everything. So yeah, no, it's good, man. Joel, thank you so much, man. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you for your time. And I know you've got to rest up and get ready for tonight. Have a good show this evening. I'm sure you'll have a great experience. Enjoy every moment. And yeah, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak to me today. It's been fantastic. So thank you very much. Yeah, yeah, it's been great, man. So we just hang on. We'll have a tiny debrief, then I'll let you shoot off. But yeah, brilliant. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Uncensored Critic podcast. I'll be back very, very soon. And Joel Harper-Jackson, thank you, sir.
Thank you.